Hey all, Eskie here, bringing you another Deadlock replay review. So in this replay, we have Taimou, hopefully I got that name right, on Wraith. Taimou is a former Overwatch pro, pretty well known for his Wraith guides at this point. And we already have a pause, classic Deadlock. Let's fast forward through that. So he has a few Wraith builds up in public, and they're pretty popular. He has his typical Wraith build, which is more of a tanky Wraith. So you'll go stuff like Siphon Bullets at that point. He also has an experimental Wraith build, which is what we're going to be watching in this game. Oh my god, this pause is taking forever. There we go. Classic Deadlock pauses in the beginning of the game. And so that's what we'll be watching here. This is a more experimental build that he does, but I think it's super interesting and super cool to watch. And yeah, so let's talk about the lane here. So we have him on Wraith, Mo and Krill is his teammate, and then there's a Lash and a Viscous. So the Lash and Viscous lane, a lot of harassment at this point. Although, to be fair, I think Wraith is probably one of the better laners in the game right now, and that's due to her cards. You can see that he went card first choice here, and I imagine he'll go 1 and 2 in cards as his first 2 skills. I think that's pretty typical on Wraith at this point, because the cards in the early game, especially if you can stack 3 of them, or stack more of them depending on if you have extra charge, stack 3 of them if you have extra charge. That's just so much burst damage in the early game. It's just insane. And yeah, you can tell he's very good at aiming the Wraith cards. I'm not the best at aiming Wraith cards, but he's hitting them. And yeah, so Lash, oh man, yeah, he just hit another card right there on the Viscous. So Lash and Viscous are actually pretty low here, so you can see they're going pretty aggressive, standing at the stairs here, trying to deny as much as they can. The important thing, though, as Wraith to keep in mind in the lane is to know how many cards you have, because good enemies, if you can see, they can see how many cards you have. So if you have no cards, good enemies are going to initiate on you, because good enemies know that in the early game, most of your damage as Wraith is through your cards. So if you don't have any cards up, you're going to be an easy kill. So just something to keep in mind is always, how many cards do I have? So Hollow Point Ward is his first purchase. This is going to be a more spirit-focused Wraith, I believe. So you'll see a decent amount of spirit items or spirit buys to enhance the spirit damage. And obviously, like we just said, early game, you're doing a lot of spirit damage with your cards, so that's the stuff that you're going to want to buy. And, Hollow Point Ward is a great hybrid item in the early game, where it gives you weapon damage and spirit damage. And yeah, so like I said, he did go the 1 in his card trick just to get that extra charge. I think he missed that card. He did hit the minion, or the troopers, not the minions, but didn't get that off on a hero. And yeah, so I think it's another thing that's important is to watch where some of these really, really skilled players position. If you've seen him, he's been up on the bridge the entire time. Oh, is he gonna? Wow, he still hit that. That's crazy. He does get punched there by the Viscous. It looks like Mo and Krill. Okay. I thought he was going to be a little bit aggressive there, but I guess not. But if you could see him, he's been positioning up on the bridge to put pressure on them, and then he'll use the pillar over here as his piece of cover. So that's something you always want to have in your mind, is what is my piece of cover that I'm going to be in front of if they go aggressive on me, if they start hitting me. So a very interesting position he's holding up there and using the pillar as that cover. Mo and Krill going aggressive here, using his slide there to get some extra ammunition as well. That's another thing I think you'll see. Damn, he is really good at hitting those cards. Another thing you'll see a lot of high-level players do is use their slides to extend their clip. Something I really encourage you guys to practice. Damn, ton of damage there. So yeah, he did get the 2 in his cards as well. Having that extra 50 damage in the early game on 3 of your cards is pretty much the difference between not killing someone and killing someone. And they're just putting a ton of harass on this Viscous. I think the Mo and Krill, I thought the Mullen Crow was going to try to go behind there and get a kill. Wraith's pretty low here. Ooh, missed that one. Lash going in for a ground pound. Yeah, he's going to get little too much health to be sitting in lane there. Lash just had so much burst damage at that point. You really have to be careful. And yes, oh, he was going to go Mystic Reacher. So a few more items here. Extra health just to offset the burst that Lash has. Extra stamina for that extra mobility. I think it can go either way between extra stamina and boots. Oh man, Moan Crow is really aggressive there. And then extra charge. I think extra charge is probably the best early game item on Wraith right now, just because it gives you an extra charge on your card trick and a lot of extra damage in the early game. Just going for the pots here. And I think that's another thing you'll see higher level players do, is when there's not anything to do in lane, like there's not any last hitting going on. The wave's been pushed at that point. Going and finding something to do, not just sitting idly in lane. And you might ask, why was he not up there trying to deny the Lash and the Viscous? In my mind, I'm not saying I'm 100% correct, but I'm pretty sure the Moan Crow was back at that point. Like they had died and Moan Crow wasn't in lane. So being up aggressive as a 1v2 against this Lash and Viscous, who gets his ult off on the Viscous there. Viscous does manage to cube it though. Being up 1v2 is very, very risky. So instead of going up there and trying to deny them 1v2 and risk a death, go off, get some pots, do something else that's useful and leveling up your character. Yeah, they're going aggressive on him. He's going to die here. Really just sitting with too little health in lane there, taking a lot of harass. And I think that's the power of this Viscous in Lash lane is, damn, the Abrams just came over and decked them. Lash not too happy about that. But with the Viscous in the Lash lane, Lash has so much burst, Viscous has so much harass that you're just going to get harassed down, and then Lash is going to be able to go in on you, do his, I call it ground pound, whatever that ability is. I'm pretty sure he says ground pound when he does it. That's the voice line. And just be able to burst you down at that point. Looks like they will be able to take this Guardian, though. He is going to blink out. And yeah, so that wasn't bad at all. Got the Guardian there. Was able to get out without dying. Abrams came over. Really great gank on those two, plus the Guardian. So really high value for that Abrams. And yeah, so the next point that he's gotten is in telekinesis, his ultimate. So 2 more points, 1 in telekinesis and 2 in telekinesis. I think the 1 is just a must get as soon as possible because having 30 seconds off the cooldown is just so impactful. And then 1 more item here. He did get active reload. I think on any type of left click character, and I think even if you build Wraith as a spirit damage character, you're still going to be doing a ton of left clicking just because how Wraith works with her giant clip. I think in any of those characters, you need at least 1 reload item, whether that's active reload or Quicksilver reload. I do think Wraith is a great candidate for Quicksilver reload because when you have 3 cards, it's not difficult to always have 1 up to Quicksilver reload. Plus, you get that extra spirit on your card, so I think that's a very viable item to go as well. And it's just kind of up to your choice. And yeah, so he grabbed Return Fire and Soul Shredder bullets here. I think one of the things you're seeing a lot, if you guys watch a lot of the high-level players, is Return Fire got buffed in this recent patch, and a lot of players are buying Return Fire just straight up early game because it's just so ridiculous the amount of tankiness you get from it, plus the extra damage you're returning on them. So Return Fire is just a really, really great item right now. I encourage pretty much on any character, honestly. So really, damn, that was a really good long-range card right there. That is impressive. So Paradox is rotating over here. Looks like Moan Krill's going in. Gets the ult off on the Lash. The Lash does get cubed by the Viscous, though. And he might get away here. Maybe not. Yeah. Card trick on him there. Gets the kill. They are pushing the Viscous, but I don't think they're going to be able to get this kill. Yeah, that's a lot of damage he just took right there. I'm not going to say it anymore. I'm just going to eternally be impressed by how good he is at aiming these cards because I'm not. Oh, no. Oh, wow. Big blink there. I think he's still dead, though. Yeah, so he got hit by the Abrams there. He was able to blink out of it, but Abrams did put his bomb on him, so he's not able to get out of there. I think we did talk about Soul Shredder bullets. This is going to be a spirit. Whoops. This is going to be a more spirit-based Wraith. So having that extra spirit damage is going to be great. And then, yeah, so very interesting. So he's bought a lot of tier 1 items here. So he has Mystic Reach. You know, that's just going to make your cards easier to hit. They're going to give you more range on your ultimate. Ammo Scavenger, you know, a big spirit damage item in the early game gives you a lot of extra spirit when you get that farmed up. And then monster rounds here. I'm actually really curious about the monster rounds. If I had to guess, I would imagine it's because as Wraith, you're going to be sidelining a lot, so you're going to want to push. You don't necessarily want to pop your cards to be pushing. And I think in previous iterations of Deadlock, you'd see a lot of Wraiths go Tesla bullets, and that would give you that push power. But because you're not really going Tesla bullets in this build, you need some ability to quickly push the wave so that you can put pressure on the walker. I would have to imagine that that is what monster rounds is for in this case. And yeah, so usually when you watch high-level games, I think you'll see a lot of players only go 4 to 5 tier 1 items. He's actually bought a lot of tier 1 items at this point. And usually the times when I see people buy a lot of tier 1 items, it's when they're going to buy all these tier 1 items and then farm hard, save up for a specific item that they want to go for. Usually a 6200 tier 4 item. So let's see if that's what he does here. Popping all these boxes to see if he can get anything out of them. So they are rotating over here to try to turn in the urn, the enemy team, and it looks like his team has at least 4 over here, so they definitely can fight for this. Does pop his ultimate here. Does he already have 5 points in his ultimate? Crazy. Okay. I was like, why is that ultimate going on 2 people at the same time? So he did get an ultimate off on the Viscous and the Mirage there. Oh, Lash just does a ton of damage. So that is the power of return fire there. So I don't know if you saw, but he had already popped his return fire when he was chasing the Viscous. Lash came in and basically full comboed him, and he was only down to half health there. A large part of that was return fire. And yeah, so he had gotten 2 points in. He's gotten the, first off, he got the 1 and the 2 in the card trick, and then he went all the way up in the ultimate here. And obviously the 5 on telekinesis is super, super powerful because it becomes an AoE ultimate at that point. So Bebop ultimate there, Lash ultimate as well. I think he's probably just going to back off here. His team is already down 2 at this point. And yeah, he's just going to back off here, run away from the Mirage. So they'll get that Spirit Urn. Oh, Paradox is still in there. What is Paradox doing? Yeah, so Paradox falls too. Nothing they can do at this point. Mo and Krill is there. I wonder why. Is Mo and Krill going to die? He's going to try to rotate over here to help the Mo and Krill. I don't really think there's anything he can do, though. They've definitely seen the amount of players that are over here. Like, they had 4 at that point. So there are going to be times where, you know, you start a team fight. Your team ends up losing 1 or 2 players. And at that point, it's usually just worth it to probably back off of things or at least reset so that you can see what's going on in the team fight, right? Because when you're in the middle of the team fight, it can be hard to know exactly what everyone is doing at that time. So when you hear that 2 of your teammates have fallen, it's great to back off and assess the situation because once the team fight's lost, it's lost. You don't necessarily want to die in that case, right? So he backed off there to see what was going on. Paradox was really, really deep in there, and Paradox is around 4 of the enemies, right? There's nothing that Wraith going in there can do to save that Paradox. So at that point, just don't die yourself, go do something else. So that's really the approach you should take, right? And yeah, so he's saving 4 points here, so I imagine he's going to go 5 in his card trick as well. And yeah, so he did save for a 6,200 item. So the reason he bought all of these tier 1 items was because he wanted to save for this big power spike, which is Spiritual Overflow. And like I said, so this is going to be a Spirit Wraith build, which is why he's going to want the 5-pointer in his cards so that his cards replenish faster. And yeah, Spiritual Overflow, pretty good synergy with Wraith here. You're obviously going to be able to hit that bonus spirit power very easily. And gives you just a lot of stats. I think it got buffed in this last patch too. I think they added the Spirit Shield health. Big ultimate by that Dynamo does get them 2 kills here. They can probably chase at this point. He does pop his ultimate there. I think he got the Bebop. He did not get the Mirage. Although it looks like the Mirage will die here as well. And yep, the Mirage does die. They're chasing the Bebop here. He hits cards. Surely they're going to be Bebop killed too. Bebop does punch and bomb the Abram. And yeah, they're going to get him. Slashes Tucker. And yeah, so he did end up going 5 in card trick, like I said. So he went 2 and then all the way up, and then he got the 5 in card trick. While they're going to try mid boss here, I guess they probably can, although they have Lash ultimate, they have Haze ultimate, they don't have Infernus ultimate. And the way that I know this, if you guys don't know, is all these white emblems here. Okay, so they're baiting it. That makes way more sense. So if you guys didn't know, I know I've explained this once or twice, but these white icons here are everyone's ultimate and the status of them. So because Infernus has gray on his ultimate here, he does not have it up. So that's a good thing to assess before you do mid-boss is whose ultimates are up, whose ultimates can be used to steal. Damn, that was a lot of damage on that Bebop there. He got absolutely bursted down. He didn't pop his return fire there. That's very interesting. Okay, he does pop it now. Man, that's a lot of damage. That's amazing. And I would imagine, yeah, he's probably going to get the 2 in his full auto there so that he does spirit damage on bullets, which I imagine is going to spike his damage even more at this point. So they do end up getting their Juve there. So I don't know if you guys saw that, but basically what happened is they attacked the mid-boss. They got the mid-boss down to the point where that makes the mid-boss noise globally around the map. That drew the enemy team in there. They were able to fight. And the reason they wanted to do that, if you look at the soul count right now, I'm sure it wasn't this big of a lead before they got mid-boss, but they had a bit of a lead there. So they wanted to force a fight. That's why they triggered mid-boss to try to bait the enemy team into a fight there. They were able to bait them into a fight there. After they got the fight and they won, they were able to get the mid-boss. Ooh, pretty aggressive blink there. Try to get his ultimate off of multiple people there. I don't know who he actually hit it on, though. Big team fight here. Viscous is goo-balling in. Man, some of these Viscous goo-ball builds are just hilarious and fun at the same time. Damn. All those cards. Tons of damage on that Bebop. That is so cool. He probably will die here, though. Yeah, he does end up dying. But he's just doing a ton of damage. His team does get the kills there, and they are able to get the Walker there, though. So one of the things to keep in mind when you have Rejuvenator, and one of the things that they were doing, grouping up and pushing. I think that's so important. You do not want to be farming the map with Rejuvenator. You can do the urn. I don't think the urn is that important, though, with Rejuvenator. Really having Rejuvenator, the point of Rejuvenator is so that you have that short death timer, and all of your lanes are pushing in. That gives you a huge advantage because you can take aggressive fights. Ooh, got some by the Walker there. He did get pulled by Bebop. Did get his health spike down. Ults the Viscous there. Moen Krill goes in for the ult too. Really good combo there. So I don't know if you saw. Wraith got her ultimate off on the Viscous, and then Moen Krill, I'm pretty sure, has Shadow Strike. Oh no, he got a... Damn, it's so much damage there. I think he popped his return fire a little late there. Haze ultimate. They're going to have to run away here, though. They don't have Rejuvenator anymore, so this can be a very bad fight. Yeah, so I don't know if you heard the sound cue, but they just lost Rejuvenator. So what were we talking about there? The point of Rejuvenator, you want to be pushing because you have those shorter death timers. And because you have those shorter death timers, you're able to take more aggressive fights to try to push into the enemy base. You don't want to be farming the map. You want to be pushing with Rejuvenator. That's what they were doing. They got some walkers there. I think they were able to get a base guardian or two as well. Sorry, I will fast forward here. Oh my God, my clicking is so bad. And let's talk about some more of the items here. So he did get the 2-pointer in full auto because it gives you that spirit damage on your bullets. And yeah, so he has rapid recharge. Obviously, this is card trick is a big part of his damage. So he wants to always have as many cards up as possible. And then he got Surge of Power as well. And that's going to be put on card trick. So, you know, you're increasing your fire rate. You're going to be constantly spamming cards already. You're going to have that move speed and that fire rate as well. We'll talk about a few more. Oh, man, big Dynamo ult there. That was at least a 3 or 4 person Dynamo ult. Infernus had popped his ult there inside of the Dynamo ult, though. I don't think it mattered at all at that point, though. They were able to get... They only got 1 kill off that. 2 kills off that now. Wow. Really, really good Dynamo ult there, though. And then, yeah, just 2 more items here. Spirit Armor and Bullet Armor. Basically, when you get to, I would say, like the 20-minute mark in the game, depending on what you're going. If you're going armors, you probably want to get armors around the 20-minute mark in the game. If you're going the barriers, you might want to get that a bit earlier. So generally speaking, barriers are more early mid-game items. Armors are more mid-late game items. So off that fight, they're going to be able to get 2 shrines here, it looks like, which is really good for their flex slot. Haze does ult in here. He is line of sight on this hit. Wow, he's going in. Oh, he popped his return fire. Okay. Bebop is ulting him there. I think he's going to die. We'll go on the Mullen Crow real quick. So if you saw him there, he was already line of sighting the Haze. But once he popped his return fire, which is a great counter to Haze ultimate, he actually went from beyond line of sight and started fighting the Haze. So that is something that you can do if you have return fire on. Is you can actually tank, depending on how fed the Haze is. You have to keep that in mind, right? This Haze isn't that fed. She is pretty far ahead of her team. But, you know, Abrams, Mo and Krill, Wraith, Seven are all pretty much on her farm. So when you're pretty much even on farm like that, you can tank the Haze ultimate if you have return fire up. So a few more items he's got here. He has gone Enduring Speed just to move around the map better. And then he's also gotten Ethereal Shift. This is just going to be great for his build. It's going to give him that tankiness. So, you know, let's say Lash pops his ultimate. You're not going to be able to line of sight it. You can always Ethereal Shift and you won't get Lash ultimate. Any type of ultimate like that, Ethereal Shift's great on. Or if they're focus firing you, you can pop Ethereal Shift, get them off you. And then obviously it's going to, maybe not obviously, sorry. It's going to reload you and give you that extra spirit power, which is huge on Wraith. And yeah, so some more of the skill build here. So he did go all the way up in full auto as well to get that bullet lifesteal. And then he's just going to go all the way up in Project Mine, which is his blink. So they have gotten 2 picks here. He is farming the map, although he's just going over here to make sure this wave stops. So if you see, the walker here is pretty low health. So he rotated over here to make sure this walker didn't fall. And this is probably one of, I want to say, Wraith's jobs, or the roles that Wraith plays in the game right now, is she's a very, very good split pusher. Although you haven't really seen him split push much. And I think a big reason for that is because he has not gone all the way up in his blink. Usually, I would say gun race tend to go all the way up in blink first, like 5 points in blink, and get that extra cooldown reduction. And that's why Wraith is such a good split pusher, is because she can blink out and be super safe. But because he hasn't done that, you haven't seen him split push as much. So he does blink in there, pops telekinesis. Dynamo ult got popped as well. Infernus ult got popped. Basically every ultimate got popped there. Bebop ult right there as well. His team does end up getting the Rejuvenator, although 3 of them are dead at this point. He's probably just going to try to need to bail out here, although he's probably dead at this point. Yeah. So that is something that you can do, and you will see high-level players do, is if the enemy team is going for the mid-boss there, maybe you don't necessarily have all of the people to contest it or steal at that point, but what you can do is, because they're going to be taking damage from mid-boss, and you have the advantage being on high ground or being outside of the pit, you're going to be able to go in there and get a lot of kills on them. So even though they have Rejuvenator, a lot of their Rejuvenators are gone at this point, right? Abrams doesn't have Rejuvenator. Paradox, Wraith don't have Rejuvenator because the enemy team fought there. Oh, big ultimate there. Got 3 in telekinesis. Oh, big Haze ult as well. So he ethereal shifted out of the Haze ultimate. He did pop his return fire as well. I think that was a bit of a mistake at that point. So he overlapped his actives there, right? So he had popped return fire and then he went into ethereal shift. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that ethereal shift does not stop the ticking of return fire. Mooncrill shadow striking the Bebop there in his ultimate. Yeah, I don't think Mooncrill can do anything about this. He's just got to get out. Although he's probably going to die. Yeah, he's just dead. So popping your return fire before the ethereal shift basically makes your return fire useless, if I'm correct in the fact that your return fire is still ticking down as you're in ethereal shift. So really what he should have done there is, if he was going to ethereal shift, he should have ethereal shifted first as the Haze was ulting, and then once he gets out of ethereal shift, if Haze is still ulting or he's being initiated on, okay, tactical pause, I don't know. After he gets out of the ethereal shift, that's when you want to pop return fire, so you get the full use out of return fire there. So the next item he got is Mystic Reverb. This gives you a lot of stats that you probably want here: Spirit Resist, Spirit Lifesteal, and ability range for your cards. And I imagine he put that on his cards. Surely he did. Yeah, so the only ability that's imbued is the cards. So he imbued Mystic Reverb on the cards there as well. And yeah, just to finish that discussion about mid-boss, if you can't necessarily steal mid-boss, it's great to contest it if you have enough players so that you can get a lot of kills on the enemy team, so that even though they have Rejuvenator, if you saw in that last fight, 3 or 4 of them did not have their Rejuvenator up, so they had full death timers after that. So even though they did push the enemy base when 3 of them had Rejuvenator, they didn't necessarily get a lot out of it because 3 or 4 of them were already sitting without Rejuvenator and they had full death timers at that point. Excuse me. So farming the map here. Pretty much sticking with his team. He hasn't done a lot of split pushing this game. And like I said, the reason I think he's not doing a lot of split pushing is because he hasn't gone all 5 in his blink yet. That's really what gives Wraith the ability to split push, is having a really short cooldown blink. Man, those long range cards are crazy. So if you saw him there, he basically sniped. Ooh. Big Haze ult on him there. So his team is just going to bail out at this point. This is a lost team fight. So I think you kind of saw what he wanted to do there. Was he was sitting pretty far back and he was just popping his cards, right? And he actually basically sniped the Lash with his cards there, which was really, really cool to see. So that's kind of how this build functions, right? Well, Mr. Dynamo died there, unfortunately. So this is probably going to give the enemy team the ability to push here, at least get a walker or 2. And so late game deaths like this, they're not necessarily the worst per se, because there's no bid boss up. The enemy team is going to get some base guardians here though, and is definitely going to get at least a walker, if not both walkers. So it's kind of bad in that case, but there is no mid boss for them to take. Oh man, his ultimate has huge range. It's always funny to see someone run away from Wraith ultimate and it just constant noise going right towards them trying to hit it. Don't tell me this is bugged. Okay. Someone had to run really, really far away from that Wraith ultimate. I don't know if you... I know I had the game audio on a lower setting, but there was basically a Wraith ultimate in my head for like a good 10 seconds there as someone was running away from it. And yeah, one more item here looks like metal skin. So this is definitely going to counter the haze there. I don't know if you've seen, but it's a great thing to think about when you're in the game. And I know that there can be a lot to think about in this game, but after you die each time, you really need to think about, why did I die there? What happened? What caused me to die there? And he had a pretty good team fight, right? Like he basically, I don't want to say solo killed the Lash, but did a ton of damage to the Lash and got that kill. But what ended up happening was as Haze came in on him, ulted him, and he died. And I'm pretty sure he's basically died because of Haze ultimate in the last 2 or 3 deaths. So one of the things you guys want to be doing as you're playing the game, I know early on, autopiloting through a build where you're just clicking left to right in my builds or just clicking through like pro players' builds is easy. And when you're new to the game or you don't feel as comfortable on a hero, that can be fine. But as you get more time in the game, as you get more time on heroes, you really want to be thinking about, okay, what item do I need now? And I would imagine what he thought is, okay, I'm dying a lot to the Haze ultimate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a metal skin. I do have return fire, but sometimes his return fire is not going to be up to counter the Haze ultimate. So having return fire plus the metal skin is going to give him that survivability to outlast the Haze ultimate. So it looks like the enemy team is going to, I think they're probably baiting in mid boss here. Or his team is baiting in mid boss. I have no idea who's baiting mid boss. I think his team's baiting mid boss. Someone's baiting mid boss. Big card on them there. It's a good chunk of damage he's got on him. Moen Krill did, I imagine he Shadow Strike the Lash there. Almost got the Lash kill. Dynamo gets at least 2 in his ultimate, it looks like. He pops his metal skin. Oh man, he pops his ethereal shift as well. Yeah, there's not much he can do in that fight. They're just all over him. So even with all those actives, he popped his ethereal shift, he popped his return fire, he popped his metal skin. He's still dying there. And at that point, it's kind of hard, right? It's kind of like, what do I need to do differently? I'm not actually sure what he could have done differently. I think his team just pretty much got mowed down there. 7 with the ultimate, and there's nothing. Yeah. 7 ultimate does not matter. What build is he going? Interesting. Okay. And sometimes when you die, you're just... There's not much you could have done, right? Like the enemy team jumps on top of you. They use all their ultimates. There's really not any item in the game that's going to be able to counter that. So you just kind of throw your hands up and say, hey, I died there. Try to get him next time. Mental fortitude. I know it's hard in MOBAs, but you got to have some mental fortitude. So he did grab knockdown as well. I'm not exactly sure why he grabbed knockdown, but if I had to guess, I believe it's probably for the Bebop ult. So usually you're going to want to use knockdown to get flyers out of the sky like a Vindicta or a Grey Talon. But this Bebop ultimate is becoming pretty oppressive. And he's full spirit build, so it's doing a lot of damage. So I would imagine that's why he got knockdown, is to try to counter the Bebop ult. Oh man, that's a lot of damage on the entire team there. This card build's really cool. So they do get the Viscous kill there. Paradox gets the swap with the telekinesis there as well. Probably get the kill on the Lash. Yep, get the kill. He popped his metal skin for the Haze ult right there. Haze does go down. And they're basically winning this team fight at this point with the Infernus down as well. So that was a really good team fight. There were some good combos there. I think you saw the swap comboed with the his telekinesis there. Got the kill on the Lash. I'm not sure how the Viscous died. He did end up doing a lot of damage to the team there, though, with his card poke.
The spirit urn is waiting to be claimed.
And yeah, so they've won this team fight. So from the perspective of a team, you just won a team fight against a team with Rejuvenated. What should you be doing? Really, the only thing you should be doing at this point, I think the 7 is pushed a little bit too far up here. Moen Krill did grab the urn. I think that's fine. You're not going to be able to turn the urn in, though, most likely. because you do have Dynamo down at this point. So once you've won a fight against a Rejuvenator team, really the only thing you can do at that point is keep the lanes pushed, because they still have 2 Rejuvenators, so their minions are, or their troopers. Their troopers are still more powerful. So really all you're doing is you're going to farm your side of the map, make sure you don't die, because if you die, the enemy team is going to be able to get in your base really easily. Farm your side of the map, keep the lanes pushed, wait for their Rejuvenator to expire. They still have Rejuvenator on Bebop and Mirage. So that's what they're doing here. They're just chilling. They're waiting. Mo and Krill, looks like they did try to turn in the urn. I don't know what 7 is doing here. Man, 7 is farmed. He has a shit ton of farm. Him and the Haze are really, really farmed. So he's rotating over here to help the 7. I don't know why the 7 was so deep, though. Oh, this is a really aggressive blink there. That was a horrible cube. I don't know if you guys saw that. That Haze has to be pissed right now. So, sorry, my voice. So basically what happened is the Wraith blinked in there. I think that blink was pretty aggressive, and I think he regretted it immediately because he did have to pop his Ethereal Shift. So he popped his Ethereal Shift. He got out of his Ethereal Shift. He popped his Metal Skin because Haze was right there. Haze started to ult, but then Viscous popped the cube on the Haze. And I didn't know this, but I'm pretty sure it canceled the Haze ult at that point. So that was a pretty big misplay by the Viscous. I get the idea, though. Like, he's trying to save the Haze there because he thinks she's gonna get bursted, but he basically stopped her ultimate there. So they've lost another team fight here. They are 20k behind about, so this might spell their doom. Don't look at the bottom bar. So what you want to be doing in this case, you have 2 teammates coming up right now. You really want to wait for death timers at that point. You don't really have to fight at this point until the patron is downed. Damn, 7 is going aggressive here. Is he going to be able to get there to knock that Bebop down? I don't think so. Oh, he's trying. He did ult the Bebop there. I don't know if he got the knockdown on him. No, he didn't get the knockdown on him. They do get the kill on the Bebop. Mo and Krill did go down for that, though. They did get a kill on Mirage as well, so they are up here. They might get the kill on this Infernus, too. He's going to go back and fix this wave to make sure it doesn't push into their base. And it looks like one more item here as well. So he did get Soul Rebirth. So Soul Rebirth, I think you'll see it a lot in the later stages of the game, especially games that go long like this, where we're already at the 40-minute mark almost. At this point, you'll probably see a bunch of people buy Soul Rebirth, but this is the time in the game to buy Soul Rebirth. You don't want it to be your first, probably not even your second tier 4 item, but usually like your 3rd or 4th tier 4 item. If the game has gone that long, I think Soul Rebirth is great, because that way, when you're in the middle of the fight, maybe you make a mistake and you die. In that case, you're going to, be able to undo that mistake, basically. And especially this late in the game when the death timers are incredibly long, like over a minute, I believe, the Soul Rebirth can really come in huge and help you win a game.
Big fan of your operation, Wraith.
And he's gotten Refresher now, too. Whoa, he sold something. I don't know what he sold. But yeah, so he grabbed Refresher here, too, for his ultimate. Obviously, a Wraith ultimate, especially a tier 5, once you have the tier 5 in it, super big, impactful ultimate in a team fight if you can get it on multiple people. Having Refresher on that as well, you're just going to be doing a ton of CC in the team fight. And he grabbed a Fortitude as well. Why would you grab a Fortitude right now? I'm actually not sure. Maybe just for the movement speed around the map and to make sure you're always healed up for fights, I guess. I don't know that the weapon damage matters that much at this point. So they've taken back control of the map. At this point, you can see the enemy team's pretty much stuck in their base. All of them are pretty much at the midline of the map, so they're exerting their control. They just grabbed their buff right there. They'll probably go have Spirit Urn as well. And this is something that you should be doing in the late game, right? If you have map control, you want to be taking advantage of that. Farming their camps, making sure you take both bridge buffs, making sure you take the urn. They're basically waiting for mid-boss at this point, and mid-boss has just spawned. And if you're not confident you can push into the enemy team's base, then that's something that you're going to have to do, right? You're going to have to wait for mid-boss to spawn. You're either going to have to force the mid-boss or bait it, which I believe that they're baiting it right now. I don't think they're going to go for it. Surely not. But they're trying to bait them into a team fight here. Movement speed is nice too. Ooh, so he did get the lash there. Oh, he's in a very, very bad position. So he does pop Metal Skin there, gets the ult off on the Haze. The Mill and Krill did come and help him there, really bailed him out. His team did get the Rejuvenator as well. They are dying, though. That Bebop ult is doing a ton of damage, I'm sure. He's going to try to get knockdown. Does he have knockdown for the Bebop? No, he doesn't. He actually sold his knockdown? Interesting. So, yeah, 2 more of his teammates have died at this point. He just really needs to get out. So it's great that they got the Rejuvenator there, but all of them have died at this point, so they're not going to be able to make that much use of it. There's not much he can do, so he's just hiding here so that he doesn't die. So if you saw him, he went in a pretty aggressive pathing through their secret shop. He did get caught there. He got the ultimate off on the Lash, which could have netted a kill, but Haze, for whatever reason, was there as well. And he was about to die there, but Mo and Krill, I believe, Shadow Striked ulted in there. Oh man, he's going really aggressive here. So he's cursed right now, which is why you see the weird... I don't know if you guys see that animation, but basically he was cursed there, so he had to back out. He went pretty aggressive there, blinked him with the ultimate. He does have Refresher. Or no, his Refresher is not up, okay? He was trying to get the kill there on the Viscous, it looked like, but he was not able to do that. He does have Soul Rebirth, which is a reason he could be aggressive there. He also still has his Rejuvenator. If he didn't have those things, I would imagine he would have not made that play. So having those things, you're able to make more aggressive plays. Just something to keep in mind. And yeah, I think the only other thing he's bought so far is just improved Spirit Armor. I imagine he'll get another Bullet Armor as well. Paradox is DC'd. Interesting. But a lot of them are Spirit damage, right? You got Lash has a good amount of Spirit damage. Viscous and Furnace, a lot of Spirit damage. Bebop obviously has a lot of Spirit damage as well. Just fast forward through this real quick. Oh man, this is going to take forever. Am I going to go 16? Oh shit. Apologies for that. Went a little too fast there. Mo and Krill did die. And yeah, so late game items that he's just getting more tankiness here at this point. Oh man, he just disconnected again. Okay, I'm going to be faster with it this time. There we go. Just get through these pauses here. So the enemy team is pushing the base. They did get a kill on the Paradox here as well. This actually might be game. Don't look at the bottom. So just trying to get his card snipes off here. That's a good chunk of damage on that Infernus as well. Not much on the Mirage, though. Infernus must not have as much tankiness as the Mirage. So if you see how the enemy team's positioning here, they're all up on the high ground in the base. I know I've talked about that before, but it's so important that when you actually get into the enemy team's base, you are up on that high ground. Trying to snipe the Bebop here with his cards. He does get his ult off on the Bebop, I believe. Yep. Mo and Krill's Shadow Strike ults the Bebop there to get him out of the sky. They do get the kill on the Bebop. That's a big, big kill. Haze is ulting here in the pit. It looks like Dynamo actually got... I think Dynamo caught the Haze with his ultimate there. Wraith got cursed, so that's why he went back to Fountain. I would imagine he was a bit low there as well. Lash did just dive on him. He popped his Ethereal Shift. He's out of Ethereal Shift now. He does end up dying, though. And this actually might be game. Is this game? I don't think it is. Maybe it is. So Lash does get his ult off there. Trying to stop him from killing the Patron. Oh, that's a big-ass bag. And I think they actually have stopped him here. Good kills. And they're going to get the Lash kill as well. And surely they're going to be able to push the base here. So big, big team fight there. And the enemy team doesn't have Rejuvenator. They have a lot of death timers here. So they're not going to be able to... They're not actually pushing that aggressively. I would expect them to push way more aggressively here. They still have a 30-second timer on the Mirage, a 40-second timer on the Lash. So yeah, they're going to push now, surely. Going to grab the buff over here. And just try to make sure all the lanes are pushed as they get up there. I mean, they already have the patron down, so I think they can just run in here and win real quick. Especially when it gets to this late in the game. I mean, we're at 46 minutes. I know this video has been long. You can just melt the patron so quickly. Yeah, so he can probably just ult in and they can just focus the patron, right? Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. I know this was a long video. If you've made it this far, I really, really appreciate it. If you like this type of content, please subscribe to my channel. That helps me out so much. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Leave me a comment below. Tell me what you think about this Wraith build. Obviously, he did a ton of damage. I'm going to have to try this Wraith build in my games. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.